Just like that, another game crossed off my backlog. Dead Island 2 is another game I've had sitting in my backlog since Sony added it to PlayStation Plus. And since it's being removed on August 18th, I finally decided to give it a shot. I didn't know what to expect going into this, but after finishing the game and getting it platinum, I could say I had a ton of fun on this game. So let's get into my experience of Dead Island 2. The gameplay was easily one of my favorite parts about this game. Killing the zombies is just really fun, and trying different things on them was one of my favorite parts. Whether it's kicking them off a roof or throwing weapons at them from a distance, there's a lot of ways to mess around with the zombies. There's just something satisfying about running around and using different weapons to take them out. I really never got tired of the combat. I had the most fun using melee weapons rather than guns. Guns made the game feel a little too easy for me and weren't as engaging. Using weapons like the katana, the claws, or the hammer you get from Sambi at the end of the game made the combat super fun. The only problem with the gameplay is that some of the animations can start to feel repetitive, especially after playing for a while. But even with that, I still think the gameplay is the best part of Dead Island 2. Another thing I really liked was the world. The graphics and art style are beautiful, and I still think LA was a really good setting for this game. There are a lot of different areas to explore, and I enjoyed just looking around and seeing what the game had to offer. I especially loved Venice Beach, Monarch Studios, Bel Air, and Santa Monica. Just walking around, or should I say, just running around with the zombies chasing you was actually really fun. And the game does a really good job of making these areas look beautiful. My least favorite areas were probably the Metro or the sewers. I didn't necessarily hate them, but after seeing how beautiful these other fucking areas were, getting into these dark and enclosed sections weren't really enjoyable. I mean, I got used to the beauty of the world, so.
Fuck. That went right
The
through.
story though is probably the weakest part for me. I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's pretty forgettable. When I think back on Dead Island 2, I'm going to remember the gameplay and the world way more than the actual story. There are still some missions that stood out to me. One of my favorite main missions was going to the studio to find Michael. I also like the mission where you go to find Alex's old gym buddies. For my least favorite mission, I'd probably say the sewer section. I didn't hate it or anything, but if I had to pick one, that'd probably be my least enjoyed mission. For side missions, one of my favorite ones was Clickbait from Amanda's questline. She had me killing zombies in different ways during the first quest, and that was super fun to me. That was definitely one of the side quests that stood out to me. There were other side quests that could glitch. For example, during Sierra and Sebastian's questline, I had to bring Dee Dee the robot to Sebastian. But when I fought the zombies blocking my path, the robot would sometimes glitch underneath the map. That would be annoying whenever it happened. When it comes to characters, my favorite one was actually Amanda, and honestly I don't really know why. For some reason I ended up liking her the most. Probably because I enjoyed her questline and she was very good in the quest. I also enjoyed playing as Jacob since that's the slayer I chose. And I loved his Australian accent, or New Zealand accent. I don't know where his accent's from, but he was very funny at times.
You are so gonna regret this, sunshine.
When I finished the game, I had to get into co-op to get a trophy. And honestly, that was pretty funny. Playing with somebody else or two other people just made the situations more entertaining. Especially when you're both running around killing zombies. I definitely think co-op is the best way to experience this game, so if you have a friend, tell them to play this game with you, trust me. The ending was another part I wasn't really a fan of. It felt pretty rushed and it wasn't really that interesting to me. After spending all that time playing through the game, I expected the ending to leave more of an impression. It wasn't enough to ruin the game for me, but I definitely think it could have been better. I'm not a huge fan when games leave you with a cliffhanger, especially if they're not good ones. I'm glad I finally played Dead Island 2. I think the story's pretty forgettable and there were definitely some things I didn't like, but the gameplay and the world really carry this game. It's a really fun game to play, but I wouldn't say it's better than the original. I still had a lot of fun with it. If you're looking for a fun zombie game where you can run around, explore, and kill a bunch of zombies, I think Dead Island 2 is definitely worth checking out. And after playing and getting the game platinum, I can finally cross this game off my backlog, or finally. I'd give this game a 6.5 out of 10 or a 7. That's another game crossed off my backlog, and I'm trying to do as many games as I can before GTA 6 or by the end of the year. Next game up coming up we have. Damn, what the fuck did I just say? Next game we have coming up. It's Assassin's Creed Odyssey.